In the very beginning, the world was a clean slate, an untouched masterpiece. Imagine rivers flowing crystal clear, forests so dense the sunlight danced through the leaves, and skies painted with colors we can only dream of. And at the heart of this pristine world, there was a garden called Eden. It wasn't just beautiful, it was perfect, a sanctuary of life. This is where God placed Adam and Eve, the first man and the first woman. They weren't just creations, they were companions. Picture this, walking in the cool of the day, not in a temple or a church, but in a garden, side by side with the one who made everything. In Eden, every need was met. There was no anxiety, no hunger, no fear. Every day was defined by peace. The core of this existence was relationship, a pure connection between them and with God Himself. But this perfect paradise came with a single boundary. Amidst all the abundance, there was one tree they were told not to touch, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This rule wasn't about the fruit itself, it was about trust. It was a simple question. Would they trust that God's way was best? Or would they reach for a different kind of knowledge on their own terms? For a time, life was simple and beautiful. They tended the garden, shared their days, and lived completely without fear or shame. Their work was joyful, not a burden. But then came the moment that changed everything. A serpent, cunning and persuasive, appeared. It didn't make a command. It just planted a seed of doubt with a simple question. Did God really say? Those words hung in the air. Eve looked at the forbidden tree. Suddenly, the fruit didn't seem dangerous. It looked desirable, something that could make her wise. She reached out her hand, she took the fruit, and she ate. Then she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate too. In that single act of disobedience, the world fractured. Instantly, their innocence was gone, replaced by a heavy sense of shame. They looked at themselves, and for the first time, they felt exposed and vulnerable. They scrambled to cover themselves with leaves, trying to hide their bodies, but really they were trying to hide their hearts. The joyful freedom of walking with God was replaced by a deep-seated fear of being seen by Him. When God's voice echoed through the garden calling out, "Where are you?" He wasn't asking for their GPS coordinates. He knew where they were. He was asking about the state of their hearts. Where have you gone? Why are you hiding from me? Humanity had taken its first step away from its source. The consequences were immediate and real. Eden, their home, was no longer theirs to keep. The gates of the garden were closed, and an angel with a flaming sword stood guard. The world outside the garden was different. It was harder, filled with struggle. Work became toil, childbirth became painful, and life was marked by hardship and eventually death. Yet even in this moment of judgment, God's grace was present. He didn't abandon them to their shame. He personally made garments of skin to clothe them, a tender act of care. And more importantly, He gave them a promise, a hint of a future day when redemption would come, when the serpent's victory would be undone. The story of Adam and Eve isn't just an ancient tale about two people in a garden. It's our story. It's a mirror reflecting our own choices, the times we've reached for things we shouldn't, the moments we've felt the weight of regret and tried to hide. We all know what it's like to feel distant from where we're supposed to be. But this story also reminds us that no matter how far we stumble, we are never beyond God's reach. Think of Eden not just as a place, but as a picture of what was lost. And more importantly, a picture of what God longs to restore. A world where trust replaces fear, where relationships are whole, and where we can walk freely with Him again. So, when you hear this story, don't just see a fall. See the beginning of a much larger journey. A story that continues through all of history. A story that involves each one of us. And a story that points toward an unshakable hope. Because even as the gates of the garden closed, God was already setting in motion a grander story of redemption. A story that declares that His love is the one thing that will never be closed off to us. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that explores these foundational narratives. See you in the next video.